When Robin Dixon is away, Gizelle has no choice but to apologize in order to come out and play. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review Season 9, Episode 3 of The Real Housewives Sneaking Around with Their Boyfriend Behind Their Husband's Back of Potomac. We start the episode off right where we left off with half the cast arriving to Gizelle's event a little too late. She's not happy about this, so she tells them, oh, so you rather go to the Drunken Grand Dame's event first, support her hitting a tree, and then come to mine's late? No, it's disrespectful. Get out, you're not allowed in here. So she gets her security guard from season 5, the one that she's paying minimum wage, and I believe that she's giving him a free GNA hat and a discount. She gets him over and she's like, William, come over here. Escort them out the building. Well, technically, it's not a building, but escort them out this dusty, creepy basement that I'm hosting my event at. So William, he has them escorted out the dusty, creepy basement that she's hosting the event at. And like I said last week, if I was them, Gizelle, you're doing me a favor. I didn't even want to be here. I was obligated to come by Bravo and production in order to get my Bravo check this upcoming Friday, Gizelle. And I have a phone bill and electricity bill and car insurance to pay. So of course I had to come. So you know what? You don't have to worry about your security guard. I'm gonna leave willingly. Come on, girls. Let's go to the strip club and donate our money to another cause. So as they're leaving, Stacy, she's in the middle of the stairway like, oh, I can't believe this. This is so disrespectful. I've never been kicked out of anywhere like this. And Stacy, you never seen this show before, have you? Like, you really don't know anything about Gizelle's antics? Jazzy's face to face with Ashley and she's telling her, I can't believe you're kicking us out for being late 5 minutes. The only reason we were late was because we couldn't find parking. And then when we did find parking, we didn't have quarters for the meter. So we had to go to an ATM machine at the Dunkin' Donuts, come back and put the quarters in. And that's why we were late. On top of that, we had to struggle to get Mia's size 13 feet out the van. And that's the only reason we were late, Ashley. Like, give us some grace. I'm just kidding. Just playing around, Mia. Love you. And Ashley, she's just stuck. And, Jazzy's like, if I knew that this was going to happen, we would have never came. So they get back on the Sprinter van. The group of men that Gizelle was with, they start hyping her up. And they're like, oh, if they really want to donate, they will. So Gizelle, instead of putting herself in the line of fire, she gives the iPad over to Ashley. Ashley, she goes over into the parking lot. She sticks her head into the Sprinter van. And she's like, hey, do you want to donate? Like, the nerve and the audacity, Ashley. Like, you see that they're obviously pissed. They just wasted their time running around all over the city to come here and get kicked out 2 seconds later. And you really think that they want to open up their purse and give anything to you or Gizelle? And Jazzy, she gets up and she's like, Ashley, please get out of the Sprinter van. I need to return this van in 30 minutes to the rental center or else they're going to overcharge me. So please get out. And Jazzy, she reminds me a lot of Candace without the tissues and triangles, and I'm really gonna like her energy. Like, I really like Jazzy. So she's telling Ashley to get out, and Ashley, just like her marriage, she's holding on for dear life. She's holding on to the door as it's trying to close, and she's like, here, Mia, here's the iPad, here. You could do a donation between, ow, the door is hurting me. You could do a donation between you and Gordon if you want. Oh, Stacy, you're the new girl too. You could donate $5. Ow, my elbow, the door is hurting me. Oh, you could do a donation in Jacqueline's name as well. Ow, the door is hurting me, it hurts. Like, she's willing to lose an arm over a couple of donations. If I was Jazzy, I would have took that iPad away from her. Like, give me that. I'm giving this to my kids. And then mushed Ashley out the van. Like, move. And she tells Ashley, you need to get some sleep because you have some bags underneath your eyes. It's not because of sleep though, Jazzy. It's because of all that stress that zombie Michael Darby has put her through over these last couple of years. So that was that. They got kicked out. They had to go home. I can see why Gizelle was frustrated, but I mean, she let it out on the wrong group of people. She should be upset with Karen. So then the next day we're at Stacy's house, but before that, we got a quick scene between Kiana and her boyfriend, and it happened so quickly that I missed it because I looked down at my phone, I looked up, and I'm like, wait a minute. I heard Kiana's voice, but where is she on the screen? And then I had to rewind, and yeah, bravo, you did Kiana dirty. For her first solo scene, we see her in the kitchen with her boyfriend, and she barely said anything. She was just like, oh, babe, I missed you. And now we're at Stacy's house. Like, can we at least see his response and tell her that he missed her too? Like, damn. So we're at Stacy's house. She's having Jazzy come on over. They're in the kitchen. Stacy's telling her, we're about to have some guests come on over. Karen, Huger, and Ashley. Let me go get the door. Because the doorbell rings. She goes over, and then we see Jazzy in the kitchen, right? She's just smiling and looking beautiful. She's like, oh, hey, Ashley, nice to see you. She hears Ashley's name, and Jazzy is like, ugh. It's okay, Jazzy. That's 99% of the viewers' reaction every time we see Ashley on screen. Ashley comes in and Jazzy tries to tell her, it was never my intention on trying to slam the sprinter door against your arm. Here goes Ashley. I just left the emergency room like 5 minutes ago and I had to get a couple of stitches and screws put into my elbow after you slammed the door against me. And my ex-husband, current husband, whatever you want to call him today, Michael Darby, he's not going to be happy about this because this is another bill that he has to pay for me. So Jazzy's like, what are you talking about? I reenacted the whole thing with the door and the door does not do that type of damage. And besides, none of this would have happened if you and Gizelle weren't acting like gangsters and alcohol. I'm like, come again? Yeah, if you and Gizelle weren't acting like gangsters and alcohol. Here goes Stacy in the background. Yes, Ashley, you were indeed acting like gangsters and alcohol. And Ashley probably thought that she was safe now that Candace is off the show, but no. Because now you have Jazzy and Stacy, and they're gonna eat Ashley up, not like that, or maybe, every second that they can. So as they're going back and forth about this whole situation, then we see the Grand Dame, sorry. Karen, she shows up and she's sneaking into the house and she's like, what the fuck is going on here? Her and Ashley get into it right away because Ashley tells her, it was pretty shady how you sent that text message to the whole group at 6 o'clock in the morning, the day of the event, of both of our events. It's wrong, Karen. And I agree with her. I agree that Karen was being shady and malicious with that. And Karen was just like, first of all, I didn't do anything. I had an award that I was being honored, and I told everybody that they could do whatever they want. So it's not my fault that they went to my event first. So Ashley, somehow she told her, there goes Karen. She's deflecting. Karen, she threw it right back at her. And she's like, first of all, you want to talk about deflecting? Let's talk about your husband, Michael Darby, how he was pinching ass number 1, 2, and 3 for 3 seasons straight. Let's talk about that, how you were deflecting about that situation. And I'm like, well, Ashley, she does have a point. Do you have anything to say? Nothing? Because you were deflecting back then. And now, I swear, Ashley, she goes into these shows every season pretending as if we don't know her history on this show. Like, you do know we could see you, right? So Karen continues and she's like, look, I should have known that you were being petty when you gave me those Uber gift cards, because she can't drive because she has a DUI. I'm like, yeah, Ashley, you were being extremely petty with that. Very uncalled for, but okay. So then Karen, she makes a quick left turn like how she did on the highway. And she's like, first of all, I should have gave you back those gift cards so you could fix that human-sized acorn on your foot. And I'm like, human-sized acorn? Like, what do you, like at this point, Karen's just making things up just to make things up until they zoom down at Ashley's foot. And the editors were so wrong for making Ashley's foot, start pulsing. Like, that is terrible. And Ashley's like, what? You're talking about my foot? You're talking about my foot? And then Ashley, no class whatsoever. She proceeds to pick her foot up and she slams it on the counter in Stacy's house, in Stacy's kitchen. Her whole foot with the, the shoe and everything just laying on the counter. I'm like, wow, where is the class? If I was Stacy, I would have told Ashley, get the fuck out of my house. And then on top of that, she gets her other foot and she slams it on the counter as well. I'm like, Ashley, like, you do know that this is Stacy's house. This is not Michael Darby's house. Like, have some respect. Here goes Stacy in the confessional. She is a very beautiful woman, from her forehead down to her ankle. I really like Stacy, but Ashley, yeah, Stacy left you off the hook with that one. So then we head over to Wendy's house. She's in the kitchen with her mom. They're cooking something. The mom, she pulls out this giant rod from the fridge. For a second, I thought she was going to transform into Sailor Moon or something, the way she kept waving it around. It was a fish stick. And then Wendy lets us know that Mia invited everybody on a 2-day trip to North Carolina. And, that's cute and all, but I just wish that they could go to Las Vegas or New York City or Los Angeles. But I guess this will do. That's where Wendy's going to be celebrating her 40th birthday as well. But what really caught me off guard was when Mia in the confessional, she explained why North Carolina specifically. She was just like, North Carolina is just really special to me because it holds a very special place to my heart because that's where I grew up at. I smell bullshit. I don't know. Did she announce that when she first came onto the show? I could have sworn that it was a whole different backstory, but okay, Mia. Then we see Greg's house, and I'm like, who the hell is Greg? Like, is that a new housewife or something? And then I forgot that that's Kiana's boyfriend's name. So we head over to Greg's house. Kiana, she's in the kitchen, she's cooking. We're also introduced to Kiana's mom, and she's really pretty. She asked her, so, how's everything been since you moved into Greg's house? Kiana's like, yeah, everything has been fine. You know, we're just waiting on our house that we're renovating together. So Kiana's mom is just like, so, now that both of you live together, you know, when are you gonna get married? When are you gonna ask for a ring? Kiana was just like, look, mom, I am not Ashley Darby. I am not desperate or thirsty. The ring doesn't mean a thing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. She's like, you know, the ring is eventually gonna come, which is understandable. You know, she just moved into the house with Greg, so, you know, it's a startup and they're still waiting on their house. She's much better than me, though, because I'm not living with you and doing wife material things if we're not engaged, married, none of that. Like, absolutely not. You're not even getting a whiff of this pussy if we're not even engaged. Like, what do I look like, Chrissy and Jim Jones? Like, absolutely not. But, you know, if that's what she wants, then fine, Kiana, fine. Then we head over to Gizelle's house that's shaped like a breakfast diner. She's there with all three of her daughters, but it's prom season for Angel and Adore, and it is just so surreal to see her daughters grow up on the show, and now they're going to prom, and they look so beautiful in their dresses. Giselle, she is so lame. She was just like, so, you know, what kind of dance moves are you doing nowadays? I heard something called the Pound Town, and the second that she mentioned anything about Pound Town, it's like she put the Batman signal into the sky, because who walks in next? Pastor Holy Whore himself, Jamal. Jamal walks in. Is Jamal coming? He is, actually. He's right there. Hey, Jamal. You know, I guess, you know, this is a big moment for the girls, so I guess I see why he's here. The producers, they asked Giselle, so you do know that he has a new girlfriend, right? And I mean, the sky is blue, the grass is green, I'm beautiful, water is wet. Like, what else is new? Like, doesn't Jamal always have a new girlfriend like every other weekend? Like, if anything, it'll be interesting if they actually pull a Married to Medicine and have Jamal and his girlfriend or girlfriends, you know, multiple, come onto the show as a cast member. That would be interesting to watch. Then we see Mia and her new boyfriend, Ink. We're finally introduced to him. If you want a further introduction of who he is, go watch Carlos King's interview with Ink. He seems pretty nice. So Mia, she lets us know that the reason why they're at this rental house that they're staying at, this Airbnb basically, is because, you know, obviously in the building that she lives in, Gordon also lives there, and sometimes he just drops by uninvited and he interrupts, you know, any privacy that they're trying to have together. And, you know, don't you just hate it when you're trying to sneak around with your boyfriend and your ex-husband still wants you? Like, so annoying, right? I'm like, Mia, the more I wrap my head around this story, the more I'm like, what kind of life are you living? Like, you're sneaking away from the place you're living at because you want to get away from your husband who lives in the same building to sneak around with your boyfriend behind his back. Like, that just sounds crazy to me. So then she has Jacqueline come on over with her daughters. And first of all, absolutely not. If I was Jacqueline, there's no way that I'm having my daughters or my kids around this circus that is called Mia's life. Then I speak too soon because then in the confessional, Mia's just like, well, I mean, Jacqueline is also in an on-again, off-again relationship with the father of her children. And I'm like, not you too, Jacqueline. Like, what do you mean on-again and off-again? And then Jacqueline, it gets worse, right? She's like, well, you know, I also have my history with Ink. And I'm like, oh boy. She's like, you know, when him and Mia broke up in high school, after that, he wanted to get with me and he actually asked me on a couple of dinner dates. But I thought, well, you know, that's my friend, so I should just avoid that whole situation altogether. I don't know, Jacqueline. Now I really want to know what Gizelle asked you a couple of episodes ago. Like, did you try ink as well? Like, you mean to tell me that you didn't test drive the pen and you didn't write with the ink? Like, you didn't use any of the ink on any of your writing papers or your writing assignments? Like, you didn't try the ink out yourself? Okay, all right. And then on top of that, we're introduced to her on-again, off-again boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, Patrick, the father of her children. She gives this very unnecessary introduction to Mia and Ink, and she's like, oh yeah, his name is Patrick, but I call him PP, which stands for partly parenting, because we're still trying to figure out, you know, co-parenting between each other. But I also call him PP because he has a big PP. And I'm like, whatever that means. It's getting weird. Like, you can't tell me that all four of them haven't tasted each other already, or at least swapped partners at least once. Like, what am I watching at this? I felt like I was watching The Real Freaks of Potomac. Like, Jacqueline, what? So then we see Stacy meeting up with the man that she says she's in love with, TJ, at this gym. And first of all, why do they have him labeled as Stacy's best friend? You know, we've already seen how that plays out on Salt Lake City, so good luck, Stacy. And you know, this whole entire scene between them confirmed exactly what I was saying last week in my review. How I think that Stacy is secretly Kenya Moore, because TJ, you can't tell me that that is not Walter. Like, that is Walter in disguise. Like, you two are not fooling anybody. Like, I'm not stupid, Kenya. I see through your tricks talking about, oh yeah, that's my best friend, TJ. No, that's Walter. You know, even their chemistry was just very Kenya-ish and very Walter-ish. Like, I'm not dumb. And, you know, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to assume anything on Walter about, you know, him possibly being, you know, how you doing? But in the confessional, what Kenya said about him was just very interesting, the way she worded it. She was just like, TJ, he's had partners that he slept with in the past, and she emphasized partners, but then she also emphasized, but in the future, when he sleeps with a woman, he wants to be married to her. So I don't know, it's just the way she emphasized that was just like, okay, what are you really trying to get at? Are you trying to insinuate something? Again, I don't think that's right, but okay. So, you know, they start working out with this trainer, and, you know, Walter, he does have a nice butt. The trainer, he also looks good too. They start working out, and Walter is doing everything in his power, in his will, to avoid touching Kenya. Kenya is over here just squatting, bending over, dipping it low, and he's just like, oh, no, oh, yucky. Eventually, the trainer leaves. He gives both of them a very passionate hug. And then I believe Walter, he tells Kenya, like, Kenya, what are you going to do about your divorce? And then in the confessional, she tells us, well, I mean, you know, me and my current husband, you know, we're very known people here in Potomac, and you know, we're on a very thin line, and you know, a lot of people know us, but I'm not really sure what can we really do about our situation right now currently. And it just seems that Kenya does not want to get a divorce just yet, or maybe she's afraid of the public, you know, backlash, I guess, and she's so known together with him. So I mean, I guess, but you're on a reality TV show. Eventually, you're gonna have to come face to face with the truth. And he doesn't want to, I'm assuming because of his beliefs, he doesn't want to move forward with her officially if she's not officially single. But I mean, I don't know. It just seems like this whole situation between Kenya and Walter is very sticky, but good luck, Kenya. So then we see Gizelle, Ashley, Jazzy, and Stacy meeting up at this restaurant. They order a charcuterie board. Gizelle, she tells them, you know, I realized once I kicked all of you out of my GNA event that nobody wanted to be at, I realized that I had misplaced emotions, that I really took it out on all of you when my issue is really with Karen. So for that, I just want to say I'm sorry. Like, was that an apology that I heard from Giselle D. Bryant coming out of her mouth and taking accountability for her actions that were a little bit too far? Is that the first time in history, in herstory, that we've ever seen that on the show in 9 seasons? Like, I had to keep I probably rewinded it like maybe like 92 times. I'm like, Gizelle apologizing to anybody on the show? Yeah, production definitely talked to Gizelle before filming. They probably gave her a whole new contract, and they probably told her, yeah, you're not allowed to, you know, have drama for more than 2 episodes. Like, you need to put a pin in it quickly or apologize and move on quickly, or else you're not coming back for next season. Like, that is crazy. They probably had a long sit down with her. And I do wonder, let's say if Robin wasn't on the show anymore and Candace was still on the show, would she have apologized to Candace, or at least extended an olive branch to Candace the same way that she did to Wendy? Now, that's the real test. Probably not, because that just goes beyond too much, but that is crazy. Like, Gizelle apologizing to anybody? Like, let's take a moment. You know, let's soak it in, because who knows if it's going to happen anytime again in the future, but that is crazy. So eventually they're like, okay, like, it's fine. You know, we just didn't really understand what the issue was, but okay, they moved on. Wendy showed up randomly. She sits down and they fill her in. They're like, yeah, she just apologized to us. And she's like, what? Meanwhile, Wendy, it took like, 3 seasons and Mia to throw a drink on her to finally get anything from Gizelle to Wendy. So that was that. Eventually, I believe they started talking about Stacy and her divorce and what's going on with that. And Gizelle is just like, I don't know. It just seems like you're not happy about that. And Stacy is like, well, I'm not going to be happy about that because it is a sad thing, and I just kind of have to move on from that. And then Ashley was just like, well, yeah, I mean, she has a new man now. And then Stacy, she gets upset about that. And I mean, I genuinely do not think that Ashley was coming from a malicious point. I know, surprise, surprise, but I don't think that Ashley was like, oh, this is like some big kept secret. I thought this was just like girl talk. We're just talking about guys and that's it, right? But apparently TJ, aka Walter, he's like this big secret, but I just don't understand, Stacy, because you're on TV. So if you're upset that Ashley is opening up her mouth about anything, which I already warned you about last week, you should have never done that, yet here we are. I don't get why you're on TV then. Ashley's looking at her like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was a big secret. Sorry about that. And okay, Stacy. So that was that. Eventually, they all pack up. They're at the airport to head to the cast trip to North Carolina. Woo! The Queen City. So eventually, they touch down. They get in their cars. We see Gizelle in the car with Wendy. And, they're mingling and having a nice conversation. And I'm like, sure. Meanwhile, Mia, she's in the car with Karen, right? And Mia, she's telling her, Karen, what's going on between you? I see what's going on online. Are you okay? Karen continues trying to paint herself out to be a victim in this whole situation that she caused herself. And she's like, well, you know what, Mia? I see that my back is against the wall currently. Okay, and your car was against a tree. Again, Karen, whose fault is that? You keep trying to blame everybody else or everything else when it was your actions. Again, they keep trying to remind you, you're lucky that you didn't unalive anybody else or unalive yourself. I'm glad that she's alive and she's good. But it's just come on now, take some accountability. I know you can't allegedly talk about certain things on camera, but stop with this whole, woe is me. I need to figure out who's my soldiers, who's really there for me. And this whole time, yeah, if you do, allegedly have an alcoholic problem or whatever, yes, get the help and we'll be here, to support you in order to get better. But stop with this whole, the truth is going to come out. The truth is going to come out. And I believe a couple of days ago over the weekend, she asked the judge to throw out her case like it was nothing, but the judge was just like, no, decline. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Karen. I'm not sure if there's any actual video footage of this whole situation. And if and when it does come out, what is going to be her excuse then? You can't say, oh, the truth is going to come out. The truth is going to come out because if we see you on camera, drunk or whatever, then what? So, it just kills me with this whole, this whole trip is really going to show me who's really there for me. And then we see a couple of hours later and then all chaos breaks loose. We see a foreshadow what's about to happen in North Carolina. Everybody's going against each other. Mia and Karen, I believe that this is the last time that they're interacting in a very nice way because Mia, she's coming for her in her DUI situation. Stacy, she's in the middle. Kiana, she's freaking out. She's going off. Everybody's going out and yeah, it's just going to be a mess. So we shall see how this whole thing turns out. But let me know what you all thought about this whole entire episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.